So I just want to show you my Stasis Warlock build that I go back to every single season, especially when GMs come round, because this build makes things super easy for you and your teammates for solo activities. Like I said, it's really good, just slows the gameplay, and it's really helpful if you're running with a team. The clips that you're going to see, the weapons that I'll be using in most of the clips are going to be Outbreak Perfected, Aegis Scepter, and this glaive, nezarecs Whisper. Absolutely brilliant glaive. I'm really enjoying glaives this season. I crafted 2 enhanced perks on it, Impulse Amplifier and Unstoppable Force, the enhanced trait. So basically when you block with that, every time you block you get a 30% damage increase with the projectile, and then I run Impulse Amplifier just to make that like travel faster. The velocity on it is really good, and the couple of mods that I run just to sort of as a quick intro is elemental shards. Solar shards that I create act as elemental wells, which I'm gonna therefore run elemental charge, which is gonna make me chargeable light. So that gives me chargeable light, so I can constantly have high energy fire going all the time, because the amount of shards that you create on the Stasis subclass, you're always going to be chargeable light literally all of the time. I also run protective light, so if you do take that extra bit of damage on top of your 100 resilience on the build, you're going to get a nice extra bit of resilience kicking in as well. And like I said, you're always going to be chargeable light with elemental shards and elemental charge. And I also run shield break charge, because as I'm doing GMs or endgame activity, you always get shielded enemies, and you're probably going to be running a matching element, and it's just a free way of getting chargeable light to proc your protective light and high energy fire. Then the last 2 mods before I get into the gameplay that really sort of enhance this build to the max is Revitalizing Blast. Stunning a champion causes it to ignite, it does like a big explosion. And I'm also running solar fulmination, so the ignitions that are caused from the revitalizing blast do an increased radius and increased damage. So the first few clips that I'm going to show you is just around the super, and then we'll go more into the build. So this is a situation where the Warlock super is actually pretty strong. I know a lot of people sort of overlook the super, and I know people know it's good, I'm not saying that, but you don't really see it shown quite a bit. In this situation we've just literally slowed a full spawn of enemies with the super and our cold snap grenades from the Osmiomancy gloves. Now nothing's rushing us, it's just been chilled, pardon the pun, but the gameplay has been slowed down, and that's the power of the Warlock. And then also the super is really good for crap situations. If you got yourself into a bad situation like we did, we got a bad death, so we had to drop down. We usually kill him at the top, but we got a bad respawn, so we had to sort of do it like that. And then we've got back to the slowing side of it, then just slowed that unstoppable champion with the 2 freezy turrets. I've put a freezy turret there, just going to stop all these rushing us. I mean, I love this type of gameplay. So what you saw there, that was the Osmiomancy gloves. I got 1 freezy turret, and then I threw a cold snap grenade, which you can do with these gloves, and then you're going to see a lot of explosions going with a revitalizing blast. Just want to show you this glaive again, Impulse Amplifier, Unstoppable Force, how good the glaives are with this build. So not only can we slow and freeze everything, like slow it down massively, we can also take a real lot of damage. Are really useful for unstoppable champs, or in situations where you'll maybe have to go revive one of your friends or someone in your team. Look at this damage reduction from the glaive. So like I said, you can imagine we've got all these slowing capabilities of the Warlock Stasis sort of subclass, with your freezy turrets of the super, your melee all freezes, and on top of that we're going to have mad damage reduction like so. You can easily 1v1 champs, 1v1 bosses if needed, as you just seen in that clip there, as long as you get used to the glaive gameplay. And the Stasis slowing capabilities really enhances that, so it's a really nice build. I just want to show you some more things on the revitalizing blast, how this sort of fits in nicely with the solar fulmination on the Stasis subclass. This clip, what you're going to see in a moment, is me using Aegis Scepter, and what I'm doing is I am just constantly stunning this Overlord champion, and you're just going to see the explosions popping. There's a better clip in a moment that you'll see, and I've left this one on purpose so you can see these stasis shards that I was talking about earlier on in the intro. If you watch these stasis shards, they're going to heal me, and they're going to give me a nice overshield, and they're also making me chargeable light ×2. So that's the stasis sort of shards kicking in, which you can create loads of. And then in this clip here, you're going to see the revitalizing blast just proccing over and over again. This is how it works nicely with the stasis. And you're going to see in the next one, anything that's around that with that revitalizing blast, all that frozen stuff, so everything's just exploded. That's the revitalizing blast working nicely with the cold snap grenades. It throws everything behind him, and everything else that was near him within that radius is just dead. Not only the dead, there was frozen beforehand as well, so it's pretty nice. Another one there, everything else is dead around him. And then back to a bit of Aegis gameplay, doing the same thing there with overloads, so it's really nice. And this is just more clips of how the sort of subclass just slows full spawns of enemies. All the gameplay that you saw was 1590 sort of GM level, so more shards giving me a nice overshield, slowing the area of play, just slowing it, taking full control. Stay tuned, I'll show you the full build. So this is now my full setup, including mods, aspects, fragments, everything. Just before I start, I just want to say I'm going to leave a dim link in the video description, so you don't even have to watch it if you don't want to, but I do run certain things for certain reasons. But if you don't want to know that, that is totally cool. Just check the dim link in the video description. I've already showed you the mods anyway, but I'm going to quickly just briefly touch over them. Elemental shards, solar fulmination, revitalizing blast on the class item. On my legs I'm running elemental charge, and then obviously whatever scavenger you want to run. Elemental charge, high energy fire goes there. I also like to run at least one of these, Armor of the Dying Star. High energy fire gives you a 20% damage buff, and with elemental shards and elemental charge we're already going to be able to get that procced all of the time. Same goes with protective light, we're always going to be chargeable light because of the amount of shards that we're creating, so that's just a safety net if you like of extra damage reduction if you do get to red bar health. Bearing in mind we've already got 100 resilience, so we're pretty tanky, plus the double freezy grenades making us pretty tanky anyway. Shield break charge is a no-brainer to me, because if you're doing sort of end game level activities, you're always got shielded enemies in there, and you're obviously going to be wanting to match them shields with the weapons that you're running, so it really is a no-brainer. Should always run this in my opinion. It's just a free way to get chargeable light. I also run kinetic siphon, rapid kinetic final blows, create an orb of power, which works nicely with the solar thing on my leg, recuperation, replenishes health every time you pick up an orb. Just a little added bonus that I'll throw in there. These are the aspects and fragments that I'm running. Bleak Watcher, Glacial Harvest, these ones are really important. Don't run anything else on this build. Glacial Harvest is what you need to create the shards, which is going to make you chargeable light all the time and also heal you. Bleak Watcher is another one that's really important. You can turn these cold snap grenades into freezy turrets with this one. So cold snap grenade obviously, because we're running the Osmiomancy gloves, and like I said, you can convert them into freezy turrets. These don't really change for me. Obviously the Penumbral Blast, that's all we've got anyway. Burst Glad, that's the one I like to run. Healing Rift or Empowering Rift, I always stick to Healing Rift, but if you're feeling frisky, feeling a bit kinky, you can run an Empowering Rift if you want. Also, these are the fragments. These are quite important the way I've got these set up also. Whisper of Hadrons, so what that does, dramatically increases weapon stability, weapon aim assist, mobility, resilience and recovery after freezing a target with stasis. So basically every time we freeze something with our Osmiomancy gloves, with the 2 cold snap grenades or the freezy turrets, we're always going to have that going, because the amount of grenades that we get and the amount of enemies with freeze, we're always going to get that extra resilience, which is going to stack nicely on top of the recovery and the resilience also. So it's really nice. Whisper of Torment, You gain grenade energy each time you take damage from targets. Whisper of Conduction. Nearby stasis shards track your position. Again, I like this one for GM's endgame activities because sometimes you don't want to be just running to them shards like a lunatic. Let them travel towards you. This is what this fragment does. Whisper of Rhyme. Collecting a stasis shard grants a small amount of overshield which falls off after 10 seconds, and if you collect additional ones it just starts the timer again. But what it does tell you, this one, it does actually heal you, so if you're not at full health you can't get the overshield, but it will heal you, and it'll heal you when you're at full health. So that's why I run these setup. I hope you found the vid good. Have a great day.